I'm Patrick Song, and this is Citizens of Fortitude.
Yes, as he already mentioned, today we have Patrick Song, aka Pat Strong.
Yeah.
One of our first members at the gym.
Number 7
member at the gym, going back to 2015, 2016 when we first started. It's great to have you here, Pat.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm excited to be here.
Good. So I want to start because I think your story is interesting and indicative of like how a lot of people kind of get into fitness, particularly people who are a little resistant to get started. So for those of you who don't know, and I can't imagine most of you do, Pat actually started as a personal training client of Kyle's when we were at the gym Peak Performance, which Kyle and I both worked at prior to opening up at Peak. So tell us a little bit about that, Pat. Like, what was your experience like at Peak? Tell me a little bit more about like training with Kyle in that kind of like one-on-one environment.
Sure, no problem. So this is a funny story because the owner of the gym was Joe Dowdell, and he was a good friend of mine, and he needed like IT services and stuff like that. So I said to him, look, you don't really have any money, so we'll do this exchange. I'll do this IT stuff for you, and what you can do for me is give me some training. You know, I'm weak. I might as well do something, you know. And so I'm thinking I'm going to work out with Joe. And of course, nobody works out with Joe, right? We all know that. So what ends up happening is this guy, Kyle, comes in. He's like, I'm going to be your trainer. And I'm just like, okay, whatever. I'm like, look, this is the deal. I'm doing an exchange with Joe. So I'm going to show sometimes. I'm not going to show sometimes. I don't care. You can just charge me because it's a deal, right? So and he's like, he goes, okay. And so Kyle and I just started to work out. And we were having more fun than anything. I don't think it was like, I didn't really have any goals. I didn't say like, oh, I want to lift, I want to do this. I was just like, let's just do something and we'll work on it. But Kyle kind of had a picture of what I couldn't do. And I couldn't do much, right? I had hip issues where like my hip would freak out when I would do something with my legs. When I would try to do bench, I would have all this pain in my shoulder. So there was all kinds of issues that we were dealing with. And Kyle was just like, let's just take it easy. We're going to slowly start doing this stuff. So we would do like, you know, different types of exercises that had to do with like, for example, I had a shoulder issue all the time. So I couldn't even do like a back squat with the bar. I had like this weird thing that kind of came over your arms. You had to hold these poles. So I learned to do that for like back squat. And because I had so many issues with my shoulder, front squat kind of became the first thing that I learned even before back squat. So I was, you know, putting that bar really uncomfortably on your neck and stuff like that. So it wasn't fun. But I really started to get better at things like the front squat and the bench. Like I would start to really enjoy the bench, and I was weak, right? So I was working on it. In fact, there's even a video of me where like, I think we slapped some 45s on there and I finally got it up for like 1. And so it was like monumental moment for me, right? And I was like, oh, this is great. This is going to be so special. So while that was happening, I'm also, you know, really, really having a great friendship with Kyle. So I was just doing all these things with, you know, Kyle when it comes to the gym, and I'm also doing all this stuff personally with him. So a friendship was being bonded. So I was like, okay, I'm going to go to hang out with him. And so in that same period of time, I was starting to get a little bit stronger because I'm doing exercise, which I wasn't doing at all before I got together, you know, with the Peak guys. So that was kind of the main thing that happened there. And then, you know, eventually you and Kyle left to create this new entity. And I was like, what am I going to do? Like, I'm going to have to do something real here because there's going to be like, you know, real people around me and they want to do these group things. So I was like, I'm going to try it. So I started to give it a shot, if you will, you know, like start to get focused. In the beginning, it was definitely difficult, but I think over time, I just bought in, you know, and once I started to buy in, that made a big difference for me. And that started to really change how I looked at working out and also the body shape and everything that came with it.
Yeah, you made quite the transformation.
Yes, I did.
Kyle, it's funny. Kyle, when we were at Peak, had like 2 main clients that he had, which were, one, he had like a lot of the high performing clients, like guys who wanted to try out for the Navy SEALs or guys who were like former junior Olympians. And then somehow he always got the guys who were resistant to doing anything. But somehow he made them do it. Like I remember there was another client that we had who with his prior trainer would only bench press. He would only bench press and then read the newspaper during rest periods. And somehow, like, and that guy did that for a month.
Guy that used to wear? There was a guy at Peak that used to wear like a dress shirt when he worked out. Do you remember that guy? There was a dress shirt guy. I looked in.
I don't think this guy had a dress shirt.
We're all working out, and this guy's just wearing a dress shirt.
Well, he didn't have to change after, so that makes it easy.
Yeah.
But slowly, he got him to, like, push the sled a little bit, and stuff that he never would have done with his prior trainer. So I think Kyle just has a real talent for
definitely.
that. So you came over to the Fort. Obviously, the one-on-one personal training relationship changed because we train in small groups here. And one of the first things that I remember when you came to the gym, and this was in the early days, and I think a transformative moment, I think, for you was the first time you got on the assault bike or the Echo bike. Do you remember that at all?
The one with the chain? Or
Yeah, the one with the chain, the very first time, and you had like kind of a high performance.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about that.
So I think the first time we rode these bikes, you really felt that if you really went, these calories would really be going, and you're just like, oh my God, right? Like, you can do this stuff. So I kind of was like, so there's a mantra that Kyle would always tell me to do, which is Band of Brothers, right? It's always about making sure that when you're doing things that you don't leave everyone behind and that you commit all the way. So I'm thinking Band of Brothers and all this stuff, and I'm just going and going. And I remember it because I think there's even some videos and also some photos of it that were on the Fort site. But I remember doing really well and going, wow, this stuff isn't that bad, right? And I think those are those moments where things start to click and you're like, wow, I can really rev this thing. Because as you rev the old bikes, you can see it and you can hear it, and the bike is sounding like you're doing it. Now these new bikes, they kind of on rubber bands, and you have no like nothing happening, and you're going, and you're like,
drive,
yeah. I think it takes the mojo out of you because you're just like, okay, I'm going, but you're not going anywhere, right? And you're just like, please calorie, turn over, please calorie. But the old bikes, I remember I would try to go as fast as I could in 30 seconds and see how many calories I could do, and it was a big difference. So I guess that was one of the motivating things for me, was like being able to see the change, like when you're looking at the screen of that bike and you're seeing how, as you're going faster and you're seeing the results, it was a big difference. Like for me, like before I would be like, oh my God, I'm not going anywhere. But one day I just went really super hard as I could. And it started showing me that if I made the effort, that I would get good results.
Yeah. Yeah. I think one of the things that like kind of the gym does is it throws some data up in your face and lets you know how you're doing. And a lot of people, particularly in New York, type A people tend to kind of respond to that.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I would say, so we always preach a lot about community, right? Anytime we talk to new clients or anybody about the gym, we talk about the community of it. It's much more interesting than the training modalities, which of course we can nerd out on as well. But I would say that you are a big part of that, right? You are a big community guy. Everybody likes training with Pat. You're kind of a gregarious guy. Yeah. So tell me a little bit about that. What's the difference been for you, like training around other people and like kind of in that group, that Band of Brothers thing that Kyle talked about, compared to kind of doing like the one-on-one? What has that meant to you?
I think the main thing that the Fort brings is that kind of feel of family, right? I've been training with the same people for a while now. Me and Richard Young Money, as I call him. We've been together for a while, and it's funny because Young Money, when he first started, he was kind of a bigger guy. And I remember one day, and I go through ups and downs. Some days I'm really good. Some days I'm garbage. Some days I have no commitment. And it was one of these days where we were going against each other, and I was on the right and he was on the left. And Jess brought him in and was like, you better show up because Money's going to beat you. And I'm like, no, he's not. Immediately I've got that, like, no, he's not. And so we're rowing, and he ended up beating me, and I was like, who is this guy? I've never even seen him before. And he was transforming in front of me. Like, he was a bigger guy that was slowly losing weight right in front of me. So we kind of attached to each other and started working out because I recognized, hey, this guy is in it and I'm trying to get in it more. And so we started working together more, and it just started to bond into what we call our little group, which we call the Fantastic Four. But even before I was with him, I always like to embrace the group I'm around, positive energy, encourage. Like if I see someone doing something wrong, if they're willing to listen, help them with stuff because I've been around a while. I think it's a great environment where everyone is there for a positive reason. No one's trying to say, I'm better than you. No one is saying, hey, I'm here and I don't want to talk to you. It's very, very open, friendly. The competitions are fun. I think if you ever see one of my group sessions, you'll see that at the end of our session when we're doing a thaw, there's a big group around us because there's always a show. I would say we're putting on a show, right? So I think those are the things that make it a lot of fun. And that whole community idea for me is that everyone is there supporting each other. It's such a supportive environment, and you don't see that anywhere else. You go to like Crunch and these kind of places, you look over and you're like, I guess I just got to wait till that guy gets off, or you're like sure if you're struggling, like if you have the weight on your throat and you have no one there to support you, you have no idea if that thing's going to kill you or not, because you're not sure about the people around you because they're all strangers. But even the strangers that come into the gym, they slowly acclimate to that family feeling very quickly because we create it so you kind of automatically become comfortable. Does that make sense? Like it's just like really cool how we just go from complete strangers, and then could be that day, it could be in a week or two, but it slowly becomes very, very friendly because I think we all bring that vibe.
Yeah. It's one of those things that I think that like training can do, or working out like this can do in a way that like a lot of other activities cannot. Like people get on like, sports teams or bowling leagues or whatever people do these days. And there's like, some camaraderie there and socialization, but there's something about training and suffering and struggling alongside other people and see them break plateaus. And, it's very kind of tactile because you are confronted with the numbers like we talked about earlier, and you see people making progress, or you see people struggle through a squat and make it. And there is something very kind of community, like a big community aspect of that. And if you did it on your own, it would not feel as good as when you're doing it with other people.
100% agree. I think you're humbled in some instances. You're elated in other instances. Like when you put that heavy weight on your back, because I like to lift heavy, and you're able to do that one heavy rep and you're screaming at the top of your lungs when you're done. The new members are kind of like, what was that? That was some craziness. Like, who is that? Whether it be me or Sam or the people that are really loud and boisterous. And it's amazing that you have these people that are like encouraging you to get the, lift the weight, or encouraging you to try to put more weight on, instead of like just being like safe about it, or even, I think the best word for it is just that feeling like, hey, I know you can do more. I know you can do more. And we're doing it not in a negative way, but saying, hey, you can do more because we believe in you. It's that we believe in you kind of feel to it. And I think that's one of the biggest things that's different than most gyms is you have that. It's not the trainers who are doing it. It's the people around you that are encouraging you. And that's not that common.
No, yeah. Peer support, peer coaching is something that we've always wanted to kind of like encourage. And it's something that's not even talked about that much, but is definitely a big deal. When it's one thing to have like some coach who's super capable and just ran 3 marathons tell you that you can do something, and you're like, oh, listen, you're not even in my league. But when you have the people surrounding you, encouraging you and telling you that you can do it, and you see what's possible, it makes a huge difference. Yeah, and it's a big thing.
Definitely when you have people that are all in kind of similar shape, like whether it be me, whether it be Young Money, whether it be Alan, and we're all trying to do the most weight. And, it's always a battle of who's going to do the last most rep, or who's going to put that last kilo on. And it's fun that way because we know it's like friendly competition. It's not like, oh my God, I beat you and make fun of you, but it's just like, yeah, I'm going to win this exercise today. Alan looks a little bit weak today, or, Richard is, Richard coming off an injury I'm taking advantage of. Since Richard has got some knee issue or back issue, I'm like, I'm going to just lift more than Richard if I can, so those are cool things, but in a positive way, always like saying, hey, nanny, but not really like, hey, I'm trying to hurt you or do anything like that. And we all come back for more because we continue to stay in the same group, and we still see each other like every week. So it's all positive.
Yeah, nice. All right, I want to shift gears slightly. All right. I know. So Pat is as the owner of an IT company. He's married. He has 2 children. Clearly, you have he's got a residence that's not even that close to the Fort, and even his full-time residence is not necessarily right in the neighborhood yet. You kind of really carve out time to come to the gym or make time for fitness, even though you got a lot of other things going on and it's not the most convenient thing. Like why? So you're not a guy who's necessarily drawn to fitness naturally. You've told us already. and you have all these other irons in the fire. Like, what makes you keep coming back? And I'm not necessarily talking about our gym, because I don't want this to end up sounding like a commercial for the Fort. But like, why is training important to you? Like, what has turned the corner there? Like, what has made it such a priority for you?
I mean, I think it comes down to when my son Xavier was born, I couldn't even carry him for 2 or 3 blocks without struggling. And that's a baby, right? We're talking not even that much weight, but throw him in one of those baby carriers and you're trying to carry him. I'm like, oh my God, my back hurts. Oh my God, this hurts, that hurts, my leg hurts. The confidence that you get from just being able to lift both your kids and even climb the stairs is amazing, and what it does for your mental side of you. You just feel like you can accomplish anything. And I think that's one of the things is I'm someone who wants to accomplish a lot. And when they're goal driven, like whether it be making money or whether by running a successful IT company, all those things I've done. So crossing over to this athletic side of the world and being, something where I can accomplish these goals has been something that I've always dreamed of. So it's like to be able to do it, you always said, Dan, just show up, right? And I was always like, yeah, whatever, okay. But that's what I did. I said, okay, I'm gonna come here 4 days. I'm gonna be here Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then skip Friday or however, but do 4 days. And whether I'm giving 110%, 90%, 50%, I'm here. So I'm only going to get better and going to get stronger and understand the exercises. So that's what it became. It just became kind of like, if I make this routine and if I can just do it, not make excuses because it's raining, not make excuses because I'm in pain or make excuses because I've got a meeting, but continue to say that this is part of who I am, it's going to make a difference. And it definitely has. It's like I said, it's made me stronger. It's made me more confident. It's made me someone that when I look in the mirror, I'm happy to look at what I see. I think that's one of the big things too, is just the whole way you feel on the inside sometimes doesn't match what you are on the outside. And to start to match that outside to the inside has been a heck of a journey.
Nice. Well, that's great to hear. What would you like to accomplish? What would the future of Pat Strong? Talk to me about numbers. Talk to me about feelings. Talk to me about anything that that you're working towards.
Specific goal this year. Specific goal is we want to be able to do 100 kilo on the bench, but not like for one. I'm talking about like that's my consistent workout. Like I'm doing 100 kilo. Like when we're doing our 5s or when we're doing the 8s and whatever, that's going to be what I want.
Okay, that's 220 pounds for people who don't do
220 pounds.
I remember Pat was saying when he first bench pressed, the 135 pounds was like the big celebration. Exactly. So that's a big jump.
Right, so it's a big jump. Yeah. I think my 1 rep max right now is like 74, 75. So I'm not that far off, right?
Looking at about, that's in the neighborhood of 160-ish pounds.
And then my back squat, I mean, sure, I'd love to get to 200 kg. I don't think that's realistic this year. If I can get to 150, that'd make me very happy, right? I'm someone that can do pretty good back squats. I'm pretty strong when it comes to my legs and everything. So to get to that next kind of monumental goal, which I think is 150s, it's like, 300 plus pounds. These are good goals for me, right? I'm going to start running. Right. I talked to Gab, and Gab and I are talking about a plan so that I'm going to work with her to start running, which is ridiculous because I'm not a runner.
Right.
But again, I think that this is the same thing with what I've accomplished here. I feel like I've done all these things when it comes to the strength training and the weight training. If I can just run on the off days 3 times a week, 2 times a week, whatever it is that I need to do, pretty soon it'll become more natural. And I think that will also help a lot of my all the stuff that I can't do very well, which I don't think that my conditioning is that great. So that will take me, I think, to the next level of being more of a complete person too, is to have my conditioning go up. Because I'm pretty good for the first, 30 seconds to a minute or 2 minutes, but then it just goes way downhill. Like it's a crash. So I think those are the things that I really want to accomplish.
Right. And I want the big takeaway here to be that, Pat is someone who is, again, not like naturally drawn to the gym, not someone who at 15 years old wanted to, get into the gym to look like Hulk Hogan or anything. He's taken steps, right? He kind of went as a barter agreement and just to kind of make good on an agreement. And then he kind of got wrapped up in a little bit of goals, and then he became a member of the community, and now he's working towards bigger strength goals and working on things that are, kind of new and challenging, that are not comfortable. But this is like kind of the process of what training is, which is, you take a step forward, you get comfortable with something, and then you layer something new on top. And this is, when people say they go to the gym and they don't see results anymore, or it's not interesting, or it's not exciting, well, usually that's because you're just doing the same thing over and over again, and you haven't challenged yourself, whether it's to get stronger and actually put more weight on the bar, or to take on something new, a new skill or a new type of thing, or put some goals in front of you that you didn't think were possible, and try to make them possible. And I think that is that's really admirable. And I think we could all kind of learn from that.
Yeah, I think what's crazy is I got my strongest when I stopped paying attention to what I look like in the mirror, what what I'm eating and all this stuff, and just went through the motions of what it's going to take to just be consistent, right? That consistency changed everything. So, I'm kind of the basis of why the program exists for the whole 430 locking in place and stuff like that. And I wanted to do that so that I would create more accountability to myself. Mm-hmm. And once I did that, it was like, okay, instead of looking at it as, hey, I go to the gym at 4:30, it says at 4:30, this is locked in. I'm paying for it. I'm here. It's whether I'm going or not, it's always locked in for that 4:30. And that made me say, like it was a meeting. Like in business, we don't miss meetings. So why would I miss this thing? So I would be there 4:30 and I would just do my thing. And whatever that result was at 5:30, I would just accept it. I used to complain all the time. Wow, I could have done this, I could have done that. But I'm just more like these days, I'm like, I'm going to give it everything I got at this moment. And then that was that day. And the next day, it's going to be something different, and I'm going to do the same thing. And that's where that consistency comes in. I wouldn't let it get personal or any kind of focus that stuff in my head. I just wanted to show up, and that's what's made the difference.
Nice. Show up, do the work, don't miss a meeting.
That's right.
I love it. All right. I think that's a good place to wrap it up. This has been Pat Song, aka Pat Strong, and I am Dan Trink from the Fort, where we take this seriously and we do what works. And we'll catch you in the next one.